Hello and welcome to Table Takes. My name is Marcus Mace, and I'm joined by three of the finest people I have ever had to share hosting duties with. Welcome to Gen Con TV. Of course, this is the home of the best 4 days in gaming all year long. So let us get into Table Takes. And to do that, we need to meet our hosts. So let me just check in. What's going on? Bonsai, what have you been up to this week?
This week, I finally, after a very, very long time, I got to see my bestie, and it was very nice. We had crumble cookies and tea, and we just hashed it out for 3 hours.
Crumble cookies and tea, and what were you hashing out? Like, if I may ask, what was that? What were
Oh,
you
oh,
hashing?
just like life things, and also announcing to her that, blah, 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 I am pregos.
Oh my god! Congratulations, Bonsai! Oh my gosh! You made the
Yeah,
official
yeah.
announcement to your friends.
Yeah, just like because I wanted to confirm, there's always that like first trimester scariness that happened and I just got the ultrasound, first ultrasound. So they're like, "Hey, it's viable." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Awesome!
So,
Congrats.
thank you.
Amazing.
Heck yeah.
Oh, Noir, it looks like you just volunteered yourself. What are you up to this week?
Blurb. What have I been up to this week? Just work. Just work stuff. I just got my feelings hurt because Bonzo was like, "Oh yeah, I just went and talked to my bestie." I was like, "Oh, are you talking about me?" But no, you weren't. So
That's funny because I thought she was talking about me.
so
Uh-oh.
Bonzo's just out here hurting everybody's feelings. Okay.
Okay, we have a Bonsai. We're gonna have to talk about this post show. We'll talk about
Wow.
this post show. We're not
Wow.
gonna air any more of our dirty laundry on Gen Con TV. Instead, we are gonna move on. Move on to figure out what number 3 of our wonderful hosts was up to this week. Javion, what have you been up to?
Well, speaking of dirty laundry, I have a hole in my chest today because I'm wearing green, and I decided to have a fun little green screen behind me. Yay!
Oh, you
PAX,
do.
yeah, PAX is happening, right behind me. Yeah, PAX is happening. All these people back there are enjoying the Penny Arcade Expo here in Seattle. Meanwhile, I am here with you guys, and also I've been playing a lot of Board Game Arena all week long, as I usually do. I've decided to cut back. I'm no longer playing 20 games at once. I'm only playing 10. So
I'm so proud
I'm
to hear
starting
this
to calm
growth.
it down.
That's amazing. Are you planning to attend PAX while you're since you're in town?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a POC Gamers meetup tomorrow,
Oh,
and
awesome.
we're gonna be playing a bunch of different board games. I'm trying to get people to play this one. It's called the Invincible Hero Building Game. Uh, I got this from Gen Con, and as you can see, the designer signed it right here while I was demoing it, and I bought it immediately. It's super fun. It's kind of like Quacks of Quedlinburg. You got a bunch of cubes in a bag. You pull them out and hope you don't pull out too many black ones. And then you try to defeat all the villains. You go through all the episodes of the TV show. It's so fun. Me and Patrick are playing a lot of it right now.
That's awesome. I hope you have a great time at PAX. I can see that PAX is already inside of you, right here in your heart. Uh, the real PAX is within Javion all along. For myself, I have had a pretty nice week. I've been doing work, getting stuff done, and I have played far too much Elden Ring. I am on my 6th playthrough of Elden Ring. Someone needs to stop me. But the only thing that
Hey,
could
hey,
stop. Okay,
Maidenless, am I right? Maidenless? You know
Maiden.
that. You know
Well,
that one,
I have.
right? Yeah.
You're right. You nailed me right there. Absolutely. Uh, thank you, Javion. Well, that is the host introduction for this episode of Table Takes. So it's just time to get into that meaty news. We have some news coming from. I think some stuff happened in the last, let's say 7 days with Dungeons and Dragons. Javion, do you have any updates for us on what the heck is going on?
Boy, do I. So there are a couple of articles here from Polygon's own Charlie Hall that we have been reading as things develop. So you might have heard last week that Hasbro had decided, hey, we have these new rules and we want y'all to use them. So thanks for letting us buy D&D Beyond back in 2022. So all the users out there who have been so loyal and since 2014 have been using the same rules for all your different many thousands and thousands of characters, all that content that you bought, you're going to now by hand remove it and copy and paste it into a homebrew that you're going to have to get access to yourself. Or, you could just buy our new player's handbook and make a new character from scratch. So nobody liked it. Everybody was upset about it. There was a 2,400 word update that they had given people to read through if you wanted to even get a chance at being able to keep your character the same. And they said, yeah, we're going to be rolling this out soon. So get ready for that. Quick shout out to Charlie Hall, who in this article described the process of creating or updating your character as so complex it was borderline Byzantine. I am definitely saving that one for later. Anyway, on Sunday, after hordes of feedback and outlash, that's what it's called, right? Outcries. Backlash. There we go.
Backlash.
The D&D studio put out a statement. We hear your feedback loud and clear. Thank you for speaking up. Our excitement around the new core books led us to view these planned updates as welcome improvements and free upgrades to existing content, but we misjudged the impact of this change, and we agree that you should be free to choose your own way to play. So you can keep all your stuff, and if you want to buy the new stuff, great. If you want to make new characters, you can choose whether or not you want to use the old stuff or the new stuff. We're sorry. That's what they said in that quote. So now you get to keep everything if you want to, and you only need to make a decision on whether or not you want to use the new content that you have purchased or not purchased, and then you know what you're doing. You're choosing the old rules. What do you guys think about this? Before I move into the next part of this article, what did you think when you saw this info coming out?
I was excited to see what everyone had to say because I knew everyone was going to be incredibly vocal about it. So I was excited to read some solutions, just some anger, some venting. It's great. That's me.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised because I saw it. I saw it in the wind.
You saw the writing on the wall?
I saw the writing on the wall. I think we even like reported a little bit, and I was like, ooh, they're gonna force people to like homebrew or something, and they're gonna make it so annoying that it's gonna be I saw the trains coming and I saw that they were gonna crash, and I was like, I'm gonna grab my popcorn and just watch.
Noir, I'm sure you've got an opinion. I can already see it bubbling up.
I'm trying so hard to be good right now.
For those of you at home who don't know, Noir's been trying to be nicer lately.
It's okay. I think that Wizards of the Coast is comprised of two different groups. They're the people that understand the game and have a passion for it. And then there are business people. And I think that when you're messing with things like people's characters and their character's identity, that there is an emotional attachment to that can't be quantified in dollars and cents. And Wizards has shown a propensity to make decisions based on dollars and cents for a product that is very attached to the heart. And that's why they keep running into walls. And I'll stop there.
I think that's also that's a really good point, Noir. Also on top of that, like the way some of the adjustments came to D&D Beyond would also hinder accessibility, which is another thing to think about when it comes to big changes like this. And it seemed like D&D Beyond didn't really consider that so much. But Javion, there is more to this. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just really quickly
please.
give you an idea of what it would have been like if they had not rolled back these changes. So imagine you had a character who uses spell casting, right? And you use this character since 2014, this beloved character, right? And then these new rules come out, you start reading, and you realize you have to copy paste all of the rules, put it into a document, then go in and enable homebrew content and buy the 2024 Player's Handbook version that isn't even out yet, isn't coming out till later. And then you could, after enabling homebrew content and paying for this new thing, paste all that information back in. Now think about doing that for every one of your characters, for each spell, for literally, and then you have to decide which stuff was updated with new rules and which stuff hasn't been updated at all and doesn't need to be touched. And now it's like a weird mix of homebrew versus official content. You're getting the big homebrew title over stuff that's literally official content. And it's people come to D&D Beyond for all these different features, like being able to roll the dice straight from your character sheet, or being able to easily port it from one place to a virtual tabletop, or to send it to your friends so they can print it out for you and things like that. And this just makes it everything super, super harder. And this is coming on the heels of the OGL fiasco that happened last year, which we all remember. And we all know what happened when that happened. All these different people who were suddenly diehard D&D fans were moving back to 4th edition, 3.5, going off to different games like Pathfinder or Dungeon Crawl Classics and a bunch of other ones. So I'm happy. I'm good. I love it. People are going to start playing more RPGs, and I'm always all for that. But let's talk about some actually good D&D news, because the D&D studios had their D&D Direct, which was a 20-minute long presentation all about the new releases coming next year and a couple of things from this year. They ended it with a very long virtual tabletop look at what their specifically D&D related virtual tabletop system was going to look like, but they didn't give a release date. So we're still waiting to find out when it's coming out or when people can play test it. Coming later this year on September 17th, we've got the new Player's Handbook, and on November 12th, we've got the new Dungeon Master's Guide. On February 18th, we've got a new Monster Manual, but that's next year, as well as, get this, more dragons. What? That's right. A whole anthology called the Dragon Anthology, which has adventures based on dragons. We definitely didn't have enough of those. So thank you. Thank you for quintupling down on more dragons D&D. There's also a new starter set coming out, so they can try to get more people, new players to play D&D in a different way. And a guide, a player's guide, and a campaign guide. 2 separate books for the Forgotten Realms setting. Something I definitely could have used is that just explain Forgotten Realms to me, because good grief, there's so much information from that setting that I just didn't know about, and I felt like I was expected to know about, and didn't come in the Dungeon Master's Guide when I started playing. Not to mention all the people with their starter sets playing since 2014, they're just like, I'm gonna have to Google all of this stuff to learn about who Drizzt is, or whatever, what are the different kinds of dragons and where did they come from and stuff like that. They promise to have lots of different settings like urban fantasy, survival horror, and the traditional high fantasy inside the Forgotten Realms guides, as well as an Elvish mega dungeon. So that sounds pretty cool. I hope you guys are excited for all the new content coming out in the next year.
Yeah, I hope to see D&D. I would like to see D&D keep on not shooting themselves in the foot. That is, but I do love, again, making things more accessible to beginners is a really key thing in these older games, especially like when I have played D&D, especially if I'm coming at it from a GM side, I don't necessarily know all of the pieces of the world. So having a beginner's way to get into like an entry point is excellent. Like for me, I just started playing Magic the Gathering for the first time, really actually learning the rules. I've been playing D&D Beyond. I started with a deck that's mostly just a bunch of cats, and I'm having fun. I'm still learning the mechanics of the game, but if only there was some way I could learn like the physical copy, like some kind of beginner's guide. Noir, do you know anything about this?
No.
Well, next up, we have Amazon Prime's new anthology series. Okay.
I'm just kidding. Of course I got you. There's a product to be made, and you know Wizards is going to make it. It is the Magic the Gathering new player acquisition or beginner box. Wizards of the Coast just did some in-store strategies for Magic the Gathering new players acquisition that revolve around the release of their upcoming foundation set. With the core Magic the Gathering community maturing as the game is now 30 plus years old, new player acquisition continues to get both more relevant and expand the game's base, as well as trickier to accomplish for friendly local game store retailers. Now that metrics have been back on as the product assessment tool for a bit, we can see that gaining new players has become even more important to friendly local gaming stores. So the upcoming foundation set is Wizards of the Coast attempt to answer both helping add new players to the base and reviving standard play at the same time. Thus, they have offered up a few tips for retailers looking to make the most of the release in this way for new players. I think this is exciting. I mean, I know that I got into Magic via theme decks, so it's kind of cool to see something targeted for newer players. But more than anything, I give Wizards a lot of guff when they mess up. I do think extending a hand and creating a product to help friendly local gaming stores is the right move. So credit where credit is due. I'm excited about this. Listen, if you want your kids to not have any extra money to do anything illicit or illegal, get them into Magic. That's all they'll have
They literally
money
won't have
for.
money to do anything else. Yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh.
But that's me.
This is awesome. Again, I like this. Wizards of the Coast. If you want the Table Takes hosts to play with this big box, just send one over our way. We'd love to take a look at it. This is awesome. Again, entry points are always very important for all games, like we talked about before. But especially games that you were familiar with. Now, speaking about games we're familiar with, Bonsai, is there any news coming with some of these? A lot of video games over the history of time. What are we gonna do with them? What is Amazon gonna do with them? What is this transition? Bonsai, save me.
We're gonna go ahead and put it on the big screen so then more people are like, what's this all about? This sounds like an interesting story. Well, this is brought to us. Thank you to Paul Tassif at Forbes for bringing this to us. Last Tuesday, Amazon just announced new short film anthology called Secret Level. It's from the same folks behind Love, Death, and Robots anthology. So if you guys don't know, anthology is just a mixture and gobbledygook of different videos by different artists that are all kind of put in with the same theme in mind. So this one's going to be a collection of short animations based on different gaming franchises. Even though most of the short films are based off of video games, D&D and Warhammer 40K are both making features as representatives of tabletop gaming. So considering how many contributions in this anthology are just, kind of very thinly veiled ads for upcoming games, or bizarre takes on old games, like I will tell you, if you watch that commercial, can you guess which one's supposed to be Pac-Man? Because I didn't realize it was supposed to be Pac-Man until I did a freeze frame of all the games that they're supposed to be talking about. And even though you see Crossfire, it is not going to be Crossfire, the board game. I got excited. It is not a show about Crossfire, the board game. I am sorry. It's a new game coming up. So it's kind of hard to think of, like, they have all of their, like, putting all of these, like, really, really beloved games and sneaking in, like, a little short ad here and there is my kind of, I didn't announce it, I've realized, but conspiracy that they're trying to be a little sneaky with their advertisement on here. But I do love a lot of, like, the various different Love, Death, Robots, a lot of those, like, other anthology series that they had on Netflix. And I believe a lot of the artists here are also people from YouTube community that have been making their own short films that have just gotten attention from Amazon Prime. And they're like, hey, we like your stuff. And hopefully, yeah, these IPs, if they expand more, maybe more stuff will happen. Who knows? Maybe D&D movie 2 will actually be put together again. We don't know. What are your takes on this, guys?
I would very much like the D&D movie to get done eventually, but something about the trailer, something about this, it's so bizarre to me, because my video games are my video games and my TV's my TV and my movies are my movies, and now it just feels like everything is sort of just blending together, and I don't know. I definitely want to see it. I at least want to like I'm so curious. I have to see it at the very least, but I wouldn't. I am definitely reserving judgment until I see it for sure, because video game movies and TV shows are always so hit and miss.
I love art. I love supporting art and artists. This seems like a big old commercial to me. That's my take.
Oh man, I think I might be somewhere in the middle of y'all, which is I am excited for this. But what I don't look forward to is online discourse about it.
Oh no.
Unlike the many things we do look forward to online discourse about.
Well, we'll just have to see everyone's take on this and stuff like that. And I would say, Javion, there are some. Have you played Final Fantasy? Because those are like borderline movies, and also Kingdom Hearts.
That's true. That's why I
They're
don't like to
borderline.
play
All the
this,
quick
actually.
cutscenes are like 2
I
hours
don't
long.
I don't care about story in video games. Maybe that's why I don't
What?
know how I'm gonna feel about seeing them on screen, but
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, this does look really cool. Like I do appreciate like you mentioned that they're actually using artists from YouTube and things, which is a trend that didn't necessarily start, but like one of the cool things from like Sonic the Hedgehog, those movies that the three Sonic the Hedgehog films that have come out, they've actually used a lot of fan artists to make their games and redesign the assets for them. So I think I love to see that it's not just coming from the same place, that they're actually using different talent and different people. So that's really cool.
If you want to see people playing through D&D campaigns on screen, then just watch Actoroki here on Gen Con TV on Wednesdays.
At 6 p.m. Pacific. Exactly, Javion. That was great. And you know what? That was such a like. I want to talk to you guys. I gotta come clean about something here. I did not nail that last transition. I strayed from that path, but now I have finally found my path. Noir, there's a new setting book I hear. Would you let me know about this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fair to say that you're a little bit of a Pathfinder. And speaking of Pathfinders, did you know there's going to be a new setting book? Pathfinder Lost Omens. Pathfinder will release Rival Academies, which is a new Lost Omens setting book, in retail March 5th, 2025. Rival Academies is a 128-page book that helps GMs and players build up their own magic academies. It includes information on luminaries, students, athletes, and wizards to add to their schools. The book also features information on advanced spymaster gear, new martial arts techniques, and of course, new wizard spells, including the remastered Rune Lord rules. This is going to be in retail for $44.99. And just as a quick aside, this is how you do it. Like one of my gripes with other systems is that they're like, this is the Magic Academy. There you go. I'm not saying any name strict havens. I'm just saying that like maybe have a couple of academies in your world, but teach us how to build our own. That's how D&D used to do it back in 3.5, and I loved it. I'm glad to see Pathfinder picking up that tradition. I'm so excited to see what absolutely unhinged wizard colleges or martial arts schools that people make. Oh my god, we can make Cobra Kai! Sorry. That came from a very real part of me. Oh,
I loved it. Thank you for sharing that real part of us. I think we all felt it both here and at home on the screen. That's really cool. I didn't realize that. Because I didn't touch Strixhaven, so I didn't realize that you couldn't just you don't have the tools to just make your own. It was just
they
it was
just
a
went
straight
into
setting.
details about Strixhaven. And
Oh.
like that was kind of it. And I'm like, okay, great. But what about Noir School for Gifted Youngsters?
But that's also the great place of Pathfinder, finding a nice hole to fill that doesn't exist or that's not there. So that's really cool. I love to see that. Thank you, Noir, for bringing this to our attention.
No problem.
So next up, we have some information on an older game, Traveler. Bonsai, would you like to share that with us?
Yes, and thank you. This is from Morris at EN World. This has been kind of like the big news splash that's happened this week. Mark Miller transfers ownership of Traveler to Mongoose. So if you don't know who Mark Miller is famously the creator of Traveler. Who, like, if you guys know what the most notable thing about Traveler is when you can die during was it character creation. Sorry, I was going to go through character creation. So it was announced on Mongoose Publishing forums and on the Citizen of the Imperium Traveler forums this week that all the rights to Traveler RPG have been in their entirety been transferred to Mongoose Publishing. So Mark Miller was inspired by another creator, Greg Stadford, the founder of Chaosium and the designer behind titles like Pendragon and RuneQuest. After Greg's death, it was quickly announced that the session plan has already been placed in advance, so none of his company's game settings and all of that would not be in copyright limbo over like people fighting over things. But that willingness to like pass on things to a successor inspired, and he was like, I wanted to emulate him and do the same with my IP. So with that in mind, Traveler was sold entirely to Mongoose this January. Mark originally requested the news be kept quiet into his eventual passing, but Mongoose was convinced him that we're not too sure how long you're going to live. You could live 30 plus years past this date or, whatever. So they're like, so they made the agreement to reveal the information in 2027 for the Traveler's 50th anniversary. Unfortunately, 7 months, enough writers, licensing, and distributors were informed, and it became very aware that this news was not going to stay quiet. So they just decided to put the world out there so there wouldn't be any whispers and miscommunication. Mongoose itself has been a pretty big boost of Traveler in the past, and it's clear that they love the game. So it's generally been very well received with this handover. What do y'all think? I feel like there should be more of these things where creators are like, I'm going to not be around very long. Here, I pass the torch.
Yeah, I mean that's true. We're not going to be around forever, so being able to come up with a plan that's a really cool thing to see. Like that, this is not going to be stuck in some kind of rights limbo or distribution hell. That's awesome.
Yeah, Traveler's definitely been on my radar for a little while. It's definitely a little bit more of a daunting task than your typical one-shot quick start. So maybe if they do build something to introduce players like that, or if I can find something that they've already made that's like that, I might get into it.
So let me just ask this, because I haven't played Traveler, but the thing is, the only thing I knew about Traveler is what Bonsai suggested, that you can die in character creation. Has anyone played Traveler here?
I've only did the character creation because it was fun.
And you survived?
And you didn't get any further?
No, I mean, it wasn't like it was just more of like, let's try it because we heard about these things. But Traveler is way more than that. There's already different versions of Traveler. There's only the rumors. I only played the rumor one because I'm like, let's go. I want to see if I die during character creation. And then it was just like, yeah, that was fun. You know how a lot of the times it is, at least to me, making the characters are a lot more fun than playing sometimes. That's why I'm very bad at like, loving characters. I'm like, haha, look at this character, it's really cool. Now the next character,
Well, excellent. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know anything about this game. Like I'm eager to check it out though.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Again, HBO spent 4 seasons telling us the importance of having a succession plan, so I'm glad that Traveler and Mongoose have taken care of that business. But next, there's some more business coming up from a game that we actually covered a year ago, a version of it. There's something new coming from it, Javion. Would you like to tell us about it? I know you're excited.
Absolutely. So this article comes to us from, Jeffrey Dom Sanchez of ICV2, and it's all about the newest edition of Dorfromantik. This time, it's in Japan. It's called Dorfromantik Sakura. For folks who have never played Dorfromantik before, it actually started out as a video game. It was really fun. It's very simple and very single player. It's already got the foundations of a board game in it because it's a tile placement game. Speaking of tile placement games, Marcus, get me my soapbox. Oh my god, we get it. You think trains are cool. So overrated. The year is 2000. The game that has just been released, Carcassonne. It's a game about placing tiles and trying to beat your opponents to finishing specific areas. You have to think about how these square tiles are going to fit together. Not like a jigsaw puzzle, but a puzzle instead. It wasn't until 2011, nearly over a decade later, that Castles of Burgundy would come out. A game that challenged us not to find how to rotate the tiles, but how to have them adjacent to one another, restricting us to where we could place them. In 2014, we got Patchwork. In 2016, King Domino. And now, in 2024, what do we have? Captain Flip. A fantastic, magnificent game that takes us back to our roots of simplicity, pulling something out, not knowing what you're going to get. Sure, it's not using the roll of dice or pulling of cards to simulate randomness, but it is a game of randomness. You don't know what you're going to get, but you've got to solve the puzzle anyway. This time on my soapbox, I'm not here to bemoan or berate. I'm here to celebrate. Thank you to Tile Placement Games. I perhaps discounted you in the past, but now I am fully on board. And I have none other than Dorf Romantic to thank for that. Because when I was at my most adamant, when I said I was done with tile placement games, that there had been too many flooding the market, I tried just one more. And it not only surpassed my expectations, but it even won the 2023 Spiel des Jahres that we covered last year, alongside one of my other favorites, Challengers. So Dorf Romantic, it already had a sequel, right? It was the Dorf Romantic Duel, right? It also had other locations that you could explore, not just in the video game, but in board game format as well. So Dorf Romantic Sakura is a welcome addition. We get to explore Japan's countryside, checking out different cherry blossoms with a new way to play, as well as plenty more content, like 40 new achievements to collect, as well as 6 boxes of new game content. Now, what does 6 boxes of new game content mean? Well, if you look at the size of the box, you can see that the boxes fit inside. So, guess? The game plays 1 to 6 players. It's going to take you from somewhere between 30 to 90 minutes, and it's going to retail at $39.99, and it's coming later this year in October. So I definitely can't wait to pick this one up and add it to my collection, because I am a big Dorf Romantic fan. Hopefully you guys will now get a chance to try out Dorf Romantic if you haven't already, because I know we don't always have time, but I know some of you are PC gamers out there, so just try out Dorf Romantic on PC if you're looking to get into it. Trust me, you're going to want to buy the board game one after.
That's awesome. I was looking at, when we were talking about this before the show, I was looking up the digital version. It looks gorgeous too. I didn't realize that it was, until you said it in the pre-show meeting, that it was actually both. It started as a video game. This looks really cool. I am a video game kind of guy, so I would probably first try it as a video game and then move on to the board game, which is a cool to have that option.
Be careful, Marcus.
Oh, yeah?
If there's something I might warn you about, it's the addictiveness of Dorf Romantic, because it starts you off with no information, and then they're just like, place this tile somewhere that it connects, and it's just like, oh, you can also do this, just so you know. Oh, here's a new tile, and then slowly you just get sucked into their world. Trust me, you want to make sure you set a timer for yourself, because I dare say it rivals Civilization in levels of addictiveness, because
like a one more time kind of game, like just one more round,
yes,
one more round. Okay,
it actually is. Yes, absolutely.
And you also mentioned Challengers, which I didn't even know they made that game. I love that movie. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, they didn't make the game, but they did win the Spiel des Jahres for Kinderspiel last year,
right,
alongside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. I love when we are able to cover like new versions of games that won the awards, be able to follow this. Thank you so much, Javion, for bringing this to our attention. Has anyone else played Dorf Romantic or familiar with tile placement games?
Very familiar with various different tile placement games. Like I think most notably the one I have is a special edition Terraforming Mars, but that's like a combination tile and card. I've only watched Dwarf being played. I think it was like the first version at Gen Con when like some folks just whipped it out and was like, ah, we're gonna go play. And I was like, wow. And then there was like a tower or a catapult or something involved. I could, yeah, I can't, like, there's a lot of components to it, but I can't help but think Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporation every time I look at this name. And I know that's not the name. And I'm just like, it just, I'm sorry. It looks like Doofenshmirtz Evil board game.
The whole time y'all were talking about it, I just kept imagining a game about dwarfs romancing each other.
Okay, we need to, I know a couple people we can get writing that right now. I bet I could sell that to a few people. That's another game. Don't tell about the game that we're going to be working on. Everyone forget about this.
Do you know what the oldest tile placement game is?
The Bible.
No.
The answer is no. I don't know.
It's actually Go.
Really? Go?
Yes. Go.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's over 2,000 years old.
What?
I mean, the Bible's older than that.
No, but
Okay.
is it tile? Is it tile?
Yeah, tokens are tiles. Look.
Bonsai.
What is a tile? What is a tile? Think about what a tile is. It's a little game piece. You know what it represents, and you place it down. What does a Go piece represent? It's either black or white, so it either represents me or you. And then it also represents like points depending on where you place it.
Wouldn't that then make Makala like an even older?
Because
it's like they're
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, Bonsai.
If under
I don't know.
that
I didn't know Makala
definition-
was older, but yes, you're right. Absolutely.
Is my wait actually no never mind. I don't know which one is the oldest.
So rather
Never
than
mind.
give you even more misinformation on TableTakes today, we will hop on to our I guess what we did this past weekend. Bonsai, would you like to tell us a little bit about this?
Yes. So if you guys were capped into my Instagram feed or any of the other various hosts Facebook feed or Twitter or X feeds and stuff like that, we all were physically in one state together, other than of course Gen Con in Minneapolis, but we all decided then to go ahead and try our luck in an escape room. And it was fun, and we have some pictures that are hopefully going to go on the side somewhere in the prompt of all of our beautiful faces. And yeah, it was a very, very cool experience. We can't tell you anything about the puzzles, but just know there were tentacles involved. Tentacles. And so yeah, it was a really cool experience. We have some of the photos that are being displayed right now. What do y'all think of, since it was the escape from Innsmouth Inn? Right? Wait, correct. And what did y'all think of Javion? You gave us the very proud name. What did you name our escape room group?
Table shakes, because it was like spooky, so like shiver shakes. Yeah, I don't know. I came up with it in like 10 seconds, and I had to think of something fast, otherwise Bonsai would come up with something else. And it was something like glitter rainbow unicorn Candyland, something like that.
It would have been. It was Rainbow Sparkles Unicorn Glitter team. Okay, I don't understand why. Yeah, Innsmouth.
There we go.
Innsmouth.
There we go.
There you go.
Noir has the poster that he picked up. He was very excited to get as much Lovecraft and
I got all of them decided too.
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Speaking for me and Peter, I think me and Peter did a good job organizing the pieces while you guys solved the problems. That was really helpful. Y'all crushed it. There was a lot of weird stuff in there. Lots of cool. I haven't been to an escape room. Personally, I have not been to an escape room without a fighting couple being involved somehow. So I've never completed one without a couple arguing as a part of my team. This was great.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Sorry.
We really did work really well together.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You and me. You and me.
We
thinking the same
bro.
thing.
Yeah. I will say that, like, from my first time ever going to a puzzle or escape room, it has gone leaps and bombs in terms of theming and cohesiveness of the piece and all the puzzles. Before it was kind of like you're kind of going into this like really weird office room that was repurposed, and they locked the door on you, and you don't really get any clues or helps from anybody, and you just kind of like are told not to really like anything that moves you can probably gather and it'll be a clue or something, but it was all like a hodgepodge of things to like something being very thematic, having voice actors, having like digital screens outside of what's going on and stuff like that, and it was
We
very
I,
nice.
I don't know if we noted that this is licensed officially by the Arkham Horror folks, the
Yeah.
ones involved with the card game, the board games, all of that stuff. Uh Really thematic, really puts you in the mood, just so much fun. And it's really cool to see how your friends think, because there are so many different puzzles that test different ways of thinking, and it was just really cool to see which ones drew which person. It was just a great experience overall.
And I like
And
to remind them that we won. We beat.
Yeah.
We only needed 7 extra minutes, but we did it. We needed let me just clarify. We needed 5 of the 7 extra minutes. Only 5. Those 2, get out of here. We don't need them.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. And this is also big shout out to Hourglass Escapes.
Mm-hmm.
They are really, really cool. And apparently they have more rooms like the Evil Dead. So if you're in Seattle and want to go ahead, all officially licensed stuff. So like that's also a really big thing, like you're saying. Like when you get official license, it's nice because then they also sell like a whole board game along with it too, if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because it is actually the game is the road to this place, the path, the journey it takes to get to the place that we were actually at. So that's part of the game that you could purchase there too. I forgot about that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that was a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much, Hourglass. Thank you so much, Peter, for organizing that. That was a lot of fun. No, that was great. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my headphones died for a second there.
Welcome back, Noir. But if that is all of our discussion today, I think it's time we head into Crowdfunder Court. What do y'all say?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here
Aye.
for it. Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to Crowdfunder Court now. Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All right, court is now in session. And welcome back to TableTakes. We are in the Crowdfunder Court now, and I will propose my crowdfunder for the day. This crowdfunder is a little bit different. This one is actually written to us from our source, Alex Meehan of TableTakes, our official staff writer. So let's get into this now. Chicago 1968 is an upcoming board game that sees players occupying either side of one of America's most intense political conflicts. Set during the riots surrounding the Democratic National Convention of 1968, Chicago 68 has players going head-to-head as opposing sides of the heated battle between the mayor of Chicago at the time, Richard J. Daley, and various political organizations such as the Youth International Party, or Yippies, and the National Mobilization Committee to End the War at Vietnam, otherwise known as MOB. The DNC of 1968 would determine which Democratic candidate was set to run against Richard Nixon during that year's presidential election. Throughout the convention, the Chicago Police Department clashed with members of the Yippies and MOB and other organizations whose aims ran counter to the especially brutal practices and policies of the notorious corrupt and powerful Mayor Daley. This historical board game, Chicago 68, seeks to revisit these events by having players take the role of either Daley and the Chicago Police Department, known as the establishment in the game, or the collection of organizations opposing them, the demonstrators. As an asymmetrical title, players in Chicago 68 will be attempting to reach entirely different goals using different means. As the establishment, players will be aiming to achieve 2 specific goals: to ensure the nomination of their candidate of choice, Vice President Hubert Humphrey, as the representative of the Democratic Party, and to maintain control over the narrative surrounding the DNC. Players will need to manipulate the delegate cube pull in order to push the DNC nomination in favor of their chosen candidate, all whilst utilizing their police and National Guard to quash the demonstrations taking place across Chicago. Alternatively, the demonstrators will only need to obtain one objective in order to win the game. The players can win by either having Eugene McCarthy, otherwise known as Dove, be elected to the Democratic nominee by bringing the various delegates at the Democratic National Convention over to their side, or through having the clashes with local enforcement get covered by the news stations, whereby winning the hearts of the U.S. citizens. This game takes place over the total of 5 rounds, which each round taking place during either daytime or nighttime across the 2.5 days of the Democratic National Convention. Besides the standard mode of Chicago 68, the game will come with a collection of variants players can experience. The upcoming title will feature rules for both co-op and solo mode, as well as 4 incendiary modules that offer specific scenarios designed for more experienced players. Each of the modules will focus on a different historical event of the 68 Democratic National Convention, forcing players to account for new variables and challenges from armored jeeps to undercover agents. Chicago 68 was created by Yoni Goldstein, with this being the designer's debut title. Creative development on the game was provided by Ronan Goldstein, in addition from Joe Dewhurst, who had previously worked on titles such as Pure Land, Onin War, Murachi, Japan 1465 to 1477. The publisher behind Chicago 68 is the Dietz Foundation, a nonprofit company that is dedicated to producing tabletop games to raise money for college sponsorships and grants for the use of those U.S. games in education. The crowdfunding campaign, Chicago 68, will be live on Kickstarter up until September 5th, with a pledge of 68 getting a copy of the game by March 2025. And that is Chicago 68.
Heck yeah.
It's a really
Who are
cool
you
game.
voting for this year, Marcus?
I am okay. I am voting for the Sun.
Okay.
That is where we are at. Who are you voting for? I bet it's Everdell Duo.
That's right, Everdell Duo. It's another sequel board game. And this one comes to us from Tabletop Tycoon, actually. Tabletop Tycoon famously benefits Toys for Tots with lots and lots of their sales, all of their sales actually, of all of their different board games. We saw them earlier this year at Gen Con, in fact, with their +1 bag of giving and their huge collection of board games that you could purchase. So I loved their big booth, but I haven't always been a big fan of Everdell, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of the big tree, like some people like to say. No, it's more just the big setup and the complicated tableau that I'm building with all of my different critters. Everdell is actually a very popular game all about these tiny woodland creatures collecting and hoarding twigs and berries and pebbles in order to fund research into different buildings that they're collecting, events that they are putting on, and trying to recruit more workers for their domain before the end of the season where they need to hibernate. Well, Everdell Duo is an attempt to shorten all of that and make it a 2-player, either co-op or competitive game you choose. They've even got a campaign mode with over 15 missions for, as they put it, endless replayability. So we'll just see about that. If you do like Everdell and you want to try a new version of it that may be a little bit shorter, this one might be for you. It's definitely for me. They've got a new mechanic with sun and moon tokens, deciding which cards you can take and play straight from the meadow where you're typically collecting cards, or you can just play cards from your hand as usual. Now, if you like Everdell already and you've already missed out on some of the very exclusive deals and exciting expansions that they had on sale at Gen Con this year, or have been putting through countless different Kickstarters throughout the year, then check out this campaign, because not only do you have an opportunity to get this new game, you also can get all of the expansions. Maybe you were like me and you were ignorant of the horde of expansions that they have put out constantly year after year since Everdell came out. Well, now you can see, not only do they have the 4 base expansions, they've got promos, they've got plushies, they've even got the big box to hold all of the different expansions and collector's items for the collectors out there, as well as some of their other title games as well. So you can definitely check that out and be amazed with all the different deals, because if there's one thing that I think a big, huge AAA title like Everdell or other games like it with big publishers behind them should be doing, if they're doing a Kickstarter at all, just to make it worthwhile, is make it a good deal. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for it to come up in the store. So get all of the huge discounts now. Go over to Kickstarter and check out Everdell Duo.
Awesome. Thank you, JP. I always love seeing more Everdell, and a way to make that pretty game a little bit smaller was okay by me. Noir, that shuffle,
Yeah.
I think, volunteered you.
I gotta stop doing that.
I know you got court duty. When it's with me, you got court duty. It's a problem. So I sentence you to cover your Kickstarter that you brought to my attention.
All right, I'll do the thing that I volunteered to do. All right, everybody. Today I'm presenting to you Old Gods of Appalachia, Deeper Still. Uh, just a quick aside. I used to say Appalachia, that I had a friend from there, and they said if you say Appalachia, they'll throw an Appalachia. And that's how I learned. That's how I learned what you're supposed to say. So back to the spooky. We actually covered Old Gods of Appalachia a while ago. They had an amazing Kickstarter. This is set. Well, I'll just read what they have for you. The Gods of Appalachia role-playing games is a complete standalone tabletop role-playing game driven by the Cipher system. The popular, critically acclaimed game engine lauded for its elegance, ease of use, flexibility, and narrative focus, intuitive character creation, and fast-paced gameplay. With a uniquely GM-friendly design, makes the Cipher system perfect for the world of Old Gods of Appalachia. And this expansion is bringing even more spookiness to it. So with this, you get to take your games deeper and creepier into more atmospheric places with 3 new supplements, plus useful and immersive extras. And if you're new to the game, this is still a great place to start. So, what are those supplements? One of them is called All Your Gods Are Dead. The other one is called Come Hell or High Water. And the last is called Dig Your Own Grave. So, gonna have a good time. Um, they're at a goal of 100,000 US dollars, and they have made $489,839, with 3,050 backers, with 21 days left to go. So if you like old Americana horror, if you like the Cipher system, or if you just trust the reputation that Monty Cook has built up over the years, this is a game to jump in on. So get to it.
Absolutely. This is so all 3 of those things are very true for me. I do love that I do love the old gods of Appalachia. What was it? Let me say it right.
Appalachia.
I don't want to get an apple at me. So I want to know this. I want to know this. So this game was already one of the more beautiful games from an art standpoint that I had seen when we covered it past then. Like it looked gorgeous. It looks moody. Like you said, the Cipher system is personally one of my favorite systems of all time. And Monty Cook is such a streamlined quality that you know what you're going to get from them. So this is really exciting. I love this. And thank you for bringing that to our attention. That does conclude Crowd Funder Court. Great work, team. We survived another episode of Table Takes. How does it feel coming out of the other end? I'm not vamping 2 minutes until we sign off. How does it feel?
We survived some old ones with our room that we were in.
Yes.
We survived talking about old ones with this Kickstarter. And then we survived the
greatest old one.
The greatest old one when we were talking about Wizards of the Coast. So I think we're doing pretty all right.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another great episode of Table Takes. Of course, we will be back every Friday at 2 p.m. with these lovely faces, minus mine. Peter will usually be here. But for now, you shouldn't go too far, because at 5 p.m. we have Sarah's Table, and they are playing a game. And I'm not gonna censor myself for you. I am just going to tell you what this game is called. Twitch will not let me type what this game is called into the update the title stream information bar. Of course, Sarah will be playing Goblin with a Fat Ass, a 1-page RPG that looks fantastic. I'm very excited to see what happens. I just got the video for it, so I'm going to be taking a look at that immediately after the stream. Goblin with a Fat Ass. Yes, I'll say that one more time. Sarah Moore of Sarah's Table, #Joyful Gaming, Goblin with a Fat Ass. Then don't worry, we have a whole bunch of weekly content after this. Mondays, we have Peter versus the Machine at 9 a.m. It will not happen this week. Peter is on a much deserved vacation, but every Monday at 9 a.m. usually we have Peter versus the Machine. Then 5 p.m. for Dress to Quest. Then on Tuesday, it's Vampire the Masquerade with Indie by Night at 7 p.m. Wednesdays, we have Path of Rush at 4 p.m. Miniature painting, really, really cool stuff. Then at 6 p.m., Actor Roki, where we play some games and we make a movie out of it. Then Thursday mornings at 10 a.m., we have Blood on the Clock Tower, a social deduction game. Really, really cool if you have not played it before. And then at 5 p.m., we have Shadowrun with a bunch of interviews from Roll with Rem Alternus. Then, as I said, Friday, we are back here at 2 p.m. Pacific for more Table Takes. I want to thank everyone here who's a part of our team. The Gen Con TV crew, Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, Jim Slonikowski, and Tanel Lovett. Peter, of course, is not here. Thank you, Peter, as well. My delightful co-hosts, Javion, Bonsai, and the Noir Enigma. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us in chat and chatting. Remember to follow Gen Con TV here on Twitch. Take a look at our VODs on YouTube. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me just make sure I have all the buttons ready to go for when I press them. Everyone, let's wait. Go ahead,
I just looked up Goblin with a Fat Ass.
Oh, yeah.
One of the moves is throwing ass.
So wait, okay.
Not put it in a circle?
Okay, we're going to take the next minute as we sign off to Google Goblin with the Fat Ass. Oh my gosh, it's still the creator of Lancer and Kill 6 Billion Demons.
Oh,
this is
there you go.
I worked with him on Kill 6 Billion. This is so cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that. This is Abaddon, a wonderful artist and designer. That's so cool. Anyway, yeah, check out with Goblin with the Fat Ass. Just 2 hours away. 2 beautiful hours away from that fat ass goblin. We are Table Takes, and we are signing off. Sarah, you got this. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great day. And do not forget, follow Table Takes and Gen Con TV for the best 4 days in gaming all year long.
And
Goodbye.
fat ass goblins.
And fat ass goblins.
And fat ass goblins
Fat
all
ass
year
goblins.
long.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.